Next week, our topic is plagiarism, but today we are talking about APA, MLA, and Chicago. I will be honest, Ms. Cartwright and I, we both work here in SEBS, so we tend to do APA more than anything. I am a former English teacher, so I used to know MLA, although it has changed since I've done it. And then if you're in history or law, you probably are using Chicago, which we aren't super familiar with, but we at least know how to figure it out. So in your classes, what citation style do you typically use most?
MLA.
So who uses APA most?
Okay.
Who uses MLA most?
Oh.
Anybody use Chicago? Yes. We don't know Chicago.
Yeah, we don't know.
So who uses a little bit of both? And you'll need both as you progress through your degrees here at Western, because you'll take gen eds in Potter, you'll take gen eds in Ogden. You'll definitely use both styles. The way we have today structured is we have some information, but we want this to be useful to you. So please ask us your questions. For those of you who are watching online, feel free to shoot us an email and we'll answer as best that we can any specific unique question. I will say this about APA. We are currently in the 6th edition, and we've had the 6th edition for about 5 years. We are overdue for a change. The cynic in me thinks they changed APA to make money because we had to buy new manuals. Don't know any other reason why they would change it, but there is likely to be a change in APA before you graduate. But for now, we're still doing the 6th edition. I think we're on the 8th edition of MLA. 7th edition. So, what questions do you have for us?
Yeah, let's start with that, because you might have some papers that are due or been signed, or anything that you're not sure about, or that you'd like us to purposefully go over with you, or else we can keep it very general. Go ahead.
I doubt they're really bad about this, but I have to do scientific reports in country every week. What format would that be?
My hunch would be APA. As always, check with your professor. I know that I've heard some science professors and physics especially have said they kind of do their own format. It doesn't necessarily strictly follow the rules. It's just what they want in the lab report. So I would talk to your professor primarily, but my hunch would be APA.
I actually have a paper due tomorrow.
Okay.
That's why I came today.
Great.
I did it in MLA format, and I used, do you know what Indeed.com is? It's just like, it reports like salaries of jobs.
Okay.
Well, it's not, like there's no author, no date or anything, it's just Indeed.com. So at the end of the sentence, like according to Indeed.com, how would I cite that? Because she told me not to just put the website, like Indeed.com.
Is it this website?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I used the salary, but I would not have a cite.
Gotcha. So let's say you're looking for the salary of a teacher.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just click this one. Nope, that is not what I want. So you got your information directly from Indeed. So
Yeah,
Indeed is what you will be citing.
This is page from a website with unknown author. This is from Purdue Owl. This is the citation chart.
Okay.
So I'm assuming the person does not want you to cite it in the website?
Yeah. Like she said that I can't just put parentheses Indeed.com at the end of the sentence. So should I say according to Indeed.com and then report what the salary was?
That's probably what I would do, and then in my reference page, I think you're gonna have to give more information like that. Typically it's when it was retrieved from the actual website itself, and they typically would want that information. For MLA, it also might be the year that it was actually published, and I don't know if the website
2016.
tells you exactly like the last time it's been updated or when it was published. But typically that information needs to be on, especially the retrieval date. A lot of times you'll see it from online sources like retrieved on this date.
Okay.
Because then that tells you like when it was. Because what if the salaries change in a
Right.
month, and then they go back to look at your citation, and they'll say, well, wait, that was retrieved 2 months ago, or whatever it might be. And we're going to share with you this citation chart. This is on Purdue Owl. This has got comparison on how to do everything for all three. But that would be, I would cite it as a website.
The way you'll cite whenever you don't have an author, and this seems to be true whether it's APA or MLA, you treat the title of the page as the author.
Okay.
So like, let me see if I can just pull it up here real quick.
I didn't do all the specifics. I just did the basics.
Okay.
So you have to go to Purdue Owl citation chart.
Let's do that.
Purdue Owl has done a great job. If you're not familiar with this website, this is the one that I would recommend most. Some of our librarians here on campus have a couple others that they like, but this one's, because it's all set up the same for MLA Chicago and for APA, it works really well because it pretty much has every single example that you could think about. In addition to, they've created a citation chart. We'll put the link in our Blackboard site, and it compares all three. So if you are in a class where you have to, or in classes you have to bounce back and forth, at least it kind of help you see, okay, it's similar in APA and MLA. It's the same information, it's just either structured differently, and those kind of things.
Like right here, it says, when a source has no known author, use a shortened title of the work instead. So like right here, they say impact of global warming. They don't have the author, so they use a shortened title in place of the author. And the benefit, or the reason why you do that then is, it's called the reference page in APA, it's called works cited in MLA, I think it's called bibliography in Chicago. I know that whatever's here, whether it's the last name or the title, this is how it will be alphabetized in the reference page. So it'll be easy to find. That's the logic in this consistency.
Good questions. Other questions? Go ahead.
Is a citing function in Microsoft Office, is that accurate?
I wouldn't recommend using any of this.
Yeah, I don't care for it. The reason why I don't like it is, to me, it just gunks up the formatting. And more to the point, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. If you're using Word 2013, you're probably safe. If you're using Word 2010, that was when we were in APA 5th edition, it may not completely match up. I personally never trust any citations given to me, because even if I go to like EBSCOhost or EasyBib or some citation machine or whatever, I see mistakes all the time. So I would not recommend it myself.
And the same thing with Google Scholar. There is a way to be able to, if you click on...
They are by far the best, but even then, you still need to check.
When you click on the cite function in Google Scholar, if you're not familiar with Google Scholar, it's not Google. It's Google, it kind of supersized, I guess, or improved, because it only takes journal scholarly work. So when you type into Google, you get everything. You get if there's a YouTube video of it, you get if there's all types of information, articles. Google Scholar is a better way of searching when you're going to be doing things for your college classes or anything here at the university. And it will, if you click on the cite button, it will show you how to cite it in MLA, APA. Sometimes it's correct, and I just chose a random one. This one looks pretty good, but I have noticed that sometimes the capitalization is off, sometimes the page numbers are missing, sometimes the volume number is missing. And the only reason I know that is we use several articles in our class that I'm super familiar with. So when I show my students it, I can see the APA citation come up and I know there's things missing. I would say if you want to use it as a reference and then double check it against the APA manual or go on Purdue Owl or double check all the information, then I'd say at least it's a head start. But I would not just cut and paste that and put it in my paper and cross your fingers that it's right, because I've seen several times where it's not.
Okay, I'm looking at this one. This one in particular, I think is.
Yes.
But I've also copied and pasted, and I go to paste in, and it's a different font. It's not Times New Roman 12, and it messes up my format. So to basically answer your question, no, I wouldn't trust it.
You're better off. And again, I tell my students, we teach APA in our class, you don't need to memorize all of this information. As long as you know how to access it, even as a graduate student, I'm still always checking myself to make sure, I got all the information correct and just double check. And so I think more practice too is better than just cutting and pasting it for someone.
One big issue with that as well is when you do their citation generation, it doesn't quite fit the margins. And if you have a professor who's a real stickler for the margins, it must be this exact size. Doing it that way could skew that as well.
Good questions. Other questions?
Well, let's go through a few different, I do want to talk a little bit more about Google Scholar, just because this isn't just APA, MLA, Chicago, this is just research, but this is one of the most amazing resources. When I think back to how we did research 20 years ago, this is mind-boggling. It's scholar.google.com, or you can literally Google Scholar and you'll find it. It will search articles on literally any topic. Here's where it is especially useful. So let's say, somebody give me a topic that you're researching right now.
The effect of social media on relationships.
Perfect.
Oh, good one. That's an interesting topic. What class is that for?
Computer information systems.
Nice.
Okay, Let me make this a little bigger just so.
I've got some articles on like social media and how it impacts college grades.
Oh.
Like you can set it by time. You say, I only want articles that have been published in 2012, and it will eliminate everything before. You see right here where it says full text at WKU? This tells you that we have it available here at WKU. Here's where it gets really useful. You can create a Google account. You can sign in. I'm going to talk about this because you're more good at mine when you're not coughing.
Yes.
It will log into WKU's systems for you and pull the articles for you from home. You don't have to be on a hardwired connection.
Which is nice.
So I'm
I'll
gonna-
show you. Okay, so the reason it comes up is because all of the campus computers that are like in MMTH, any of our labs are already set up this way. But if you have a laptop from home, or you're working in your apartment or somewhere else, it won't come up like this unless you set it up that way. So when you go back to the beginning of Google Scholar, when you go back home, this is their little home page here. If you go to settings, and we have something, it has something called library links. And if you click on library links and you type in, it's already done here so you can't do it, but if you typed in, we can type in University of Kentucky. So then I can look for here, and I can add that to this computer. I'm not going to do it, but I would add it, and then anytime I searched, it would come up and tell me what University of Kentucky has. Now, unless you're a student there, you can't obviously log into their libraries. But since you're a student here at Western, your tuition dollars are paying for you to have access to everything in the library.
So basically, you'll log in once, and then it remembers your login forever. Like I said, I had the great idea, well, I'm going to add Harvard and Columbia and all these other places.
Yeah.
You have to have a login. It won't let you do it otherwise. But there are also sources out there that are not attached to a university. Yeah, pull that up again. Social media effect on relationships. Okay, so you'll see here where it says PDF. Just click on it's not. That's fine. You see it, pull the article right up. Click on that's not WKU. Like this one here, it just says PDF, and we'll click it. They don't always work, but this one is. It's going to pull up this article from some other source, and now you have access to it. And one thing, again, that is really, that I really like about this, if you are doing a big research project and you need to see, do you know what bibliographic branching is? It's where you look at the sources that an author used. And whenever you get into a really specialized niche of research, you'll start coming across the same names over and over and over. You can click cited by, like this tells me, okay, this article is so big, it's been cited in 1,700 other articles.
And so this tells you where it's been cited at.
And some of those articles may be very related to what you're studying.
Or not.
It may not be,
You
but
can also do related articles, which will give you articles that are about the same topic, that are similar to it. And that I think is helpful too when you're trying to do your research.
let me show you one other resource here at WKU that is,
I'm just going to show them. When you click on the WKU to go to the library, if you're off campus, you have to sign into the libraries.
you don't have to do it once.
And then here you can see that the full text is available. So it's a really quick way to be able to do your search.
Now, we also have a resource here at WKU called Iliad. Has anybody used Iliad before? Okay, and again, this is not one of those things that you can do, like if you have an assignment due tomorrow and you need the article in the next few hours, it won't work. But if you know there is something big coming up down the road and you found this article that a lot of people have referenced, and WKU and Google Scholar, neither one have it. You can go to WKU, enter library loan. You'll fill out the online ILL form. I'm going to see if I can remember my login right now. Nope. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is free. You get this for being a student here at WKU. Let's say, okay, I found this article, I want to request it. You put in as much information about it as you can find. What is starred is what they have to have. You can tell them, okay, if I can't have it by November 13th, don't even bother. At that point, it's too late. Then you submit your request, and they will contact other libraries around the world, and if they can find the article anywhere, they will email you a PDF of it for free. That's your tuition dollars are paying for that. I don't have any outstanding requests, but I can click on electronically received articles. Mine is expired.
So it's for,
Like,
only for a period of time?
Here are all, yeah, you have like 90 days.
Okay,
I sent a lot of these that emailed me. Here are all the things I requested while I was working on my dissertation. These are things that I needed this article, I would find it referenced, and I'm like, this article clearly has some good info. I want this. WKU doesn't have it, Google Scholar doesn't have it. I contact Iliad, and I think there was only one article, and it was from like the 1960s that they couldn't find. Everything else, usually within a week, they would email me a copy of the article, and it's for free. You're already paying for it. It's not for free. You're paying for it, but you already paid for it, so you may as well use it.
other questions about APA? Let's go over the formatting. I think sometimes students get confused when we talk about APA that it's only a way to cite. So we imagine this reference page, we imagine these parentheses and all these kind of in-text citation kind of things, but it also is the formatting. So you want to make sure that you're using, if we go into a Word document, the default is 1-inch margins all the way around, and that's really what you want to make sure you have. So make sure that your computer is set up that way. It should be the normal, the default, but if you change it for any reason, you want to make sure you've got your 1-inch margins.
One thing that is also default that APA does not like, you should have 0 spacing after each paragraph. That's a default that does not come set, a default for APA.
You want to make sure that you've got the right font. I'm not crazy about the two that are available. It's not what I like to use, but for my professional writing, you have to use Arial, A-R-I-A-L, or Times New Roman. Those are the two, and that is not the default on Word.
They want
So-
Calibri, and Calibri's not
Yeah.
accepted.
And some professors may not give you a hard time about it, but it's, the requirement is to be able to do it in a 12-point font and one of those two choices. So when it's said APA, because I get a lot of students sometimes who think, well, it's a personal story. Like I just had to write a reading retrospective, and it was about what I remember about learning how to read when I was little. And she said APA format, but there wasn't anything to cite. And for sometimes it throws students off, like, well, what am I supposed to cite? Well, there isn't anything, but it's still APA. I still have the 1-inch margins, the correct font, the correct point font, and it's double spaced. So that's still APA, even though there wasn't anything for me to cite. So just make sure that your professors ask for that. It might be that there isn't any, you're not being required to use any other information other than yourself. What about the running head? I think that's a big one on APA. We've got that in our Blackboard site. And that's one of the things that I think students get tripped up with quite a bit when they're doing APA, is the running head. Because the first page has to be different than the other pages. And so we've got directions in our Blackboard organization on how to do it, if you want to show it.
It is a little tricky. So some of you may have never even come across this. Running head is, you will literally write running head, it's not even, here you have to change the font again, because it always defaults to Calibri. I don't like it, but it does. Running head, did not count this, but this cannot be more than 55 characters. That is on the first page only. Now here is where it gets, it seems like, why are you making this so difficult? We're not, so don't hate us. But the first page has to be different than all the other pages. You can click on design and click different first page. So
And then disappear.
do that before you type
Yes.
it in. So click different first page, running head, and again, I once again have to change my font. The good thing is, once you get it set up, what I truthfully do is I have a blank APA document on my hard drive. Anytime I have to write, I just save a new one and make changes to that. So, the effects on relationships, relationships. Okay. And now I can close my header. Okay, that's my header on the first page. Let's go to the second page. We want this different. So, different first page. And now here's how, let me make sure I do this right, it's weird. Insert, page number, top of page. Make it the right font, the right size.
We have these directions in Blackboard.
Here, social. Here you do an abbreviated, and then you tab over because your page number has to be on the far right. And now I hate Word. This does it to me. I usually end up going to YouTube and finding a video to remember.
But we have it made for you.
We have it already made for you. There we go.
There you go. It just
It knows I'm on camera. And now whenever I,
Let's see the sticks.
page 3, and let's go to the top. Okay,
There
there
we
we
go.
go.
Alright.
So you do running head.
That's how we make directions.
I don't know if in undergrad you will find a professor who is that strict about it. My advice is always just ask. Ask your professor how important it is. I know in my class, I personally don't mind if there's a running head or not, but I know in grad school you will absolutely have to do it in the correct format. So,
The other thing that you, for APA that you can do in Word is our hanging indent.
yes.
So that might be something that is worth showing. I can keep looking.
For those of you who don't know what hanging indent is how the first line of your citation is not indented and then every line after it is. Some people will tab over. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend doing a hanging indent. That way, if you need to make changes, your indent is automatically updated. It doesn't just hang out there and you have to go through and fix it. If you, here we go.
I'm going to take it off. That's in the wrong color. And this is purposely large so you can see it. But basically, this would be on your reference page. So you type all of it in, so you can see I've got first name, or last name, first initial, middle initial, and then the title of the journal article, then the title of the journal, then the volume number, and then the pages. And so once you've typed them all, they should have been in alphabetical order. This is just an example I use in my class, so they're not alphabetized. But Birchfield would obviously be above the other one. But then if you highlight it, you go ahead and highlight it, and then you go up to paragraph.
I'll right click. I don't know how to go to paragraph otherwise.
Oh, I don't know how to right click.
Really? You right click?
Okay, well, no, I know how to right click. I didn't realize the paragraph was there. Okay, we go to paragraph, either right click or go to the top. And under special, there's hanging,
And then it does it for you automatically.
and it indents
And then if you realize,
the
oh dang, I forgot some words, you can type more words in and it keeps your hanging indent
Okay,
the way
don't
it's
say
set
that.
up.
Don't say that. But that's a much better way. I see a lot of students try to hit the spacebar key 5 times.
Yeah, because if you like, yeah,
And what'll happen there is that when you do add new things in,
like
it can
first
throw a
of all,
whole
yeah,
thing.
and then you start typing and you're like, okay, well now you
That's
just have to
what
go to it's just easier to do it with a hanging indent.
Yes.
Any questions about anything, APA, MLA, Chicago, or in between? Yes?
For the work side, and like the not again, do they have some double space or is it just?
Always double spaced. Yeah, good question.
And actually, your papers too should be double spaced too. I see a lot of students turn in single space.
Yeah, and this is really nitpicky, but I see this a lot. And you're going to do this more as an undergrad or on a really short assignment. If you only have one source, what do you call your last page? Yeah, works cited or reference. If you have more than that, it's works cited or references. That's really nitpicky, but some professors are, so.
Good question. Other questions?
Well, have we got tickets yet?
All right. You want to make sure you put your first name and last name on there. No phone number, nothing like that, because you have to be present to win. Taylor,